Coach, thank you for joining us. Dallas week, you had it as a player, now as a coach. Is there a big difference?
I think so, and I think it stems really from the fans. I remember back when I was a player, living and being in the community, it was like 2 games a year that they want you to win, and that's obviously the 2 times you played Dallas, and it's a different vibe. Obviously this year, because of what's at stake with this much on the line, I know our players and our fans and myself will all be excited for it.
So when the schedule came out, I think most of us looked at Week 16 and we said, that's going to be the game. That's going to be the game that's going to determine the NFC East. Turns out it's that way. Did you see the same thing?
I did. Obviously, when the schedule came out and I saw that we had 4 of our last games all against division opponents, I mean, you kind of knew your season was going to come down to those last 4 games, and it really has. I mean, obviously, we've dug ourselves in a little bit of a hole, but, we're slowly climbing back out. Yeah, I would say that this was the circle probably on the calendar, way back in April when the schedule came out, but it's a great opportunity again for our team, for our players, for our coaching staff, for our organization. Should be a good football game.
You spoke of digging yourselves a hole. In that first matchup, you go down 2 touchdowns right away against that football team. How important is it that you don't allow that to happen this time?
Well, that was the biggest thing that happened to us was the turnovers. We coughed it up twice, the opening drive, and then the second possession, I believe we turned it over and allowed them short fields. And they're such a good football team that they went up 14-0 right away, and then we were, almost out of our game plan at that point, and we're playing catch up the rest of the game. You just can't do that against good football teams, and really against a defense like this that's aggressive up front. They can get after your passer, obviously, and offensively, with Zeke and Dak, Amari, I mean, they can strike, and they can either strike quickly or they can go the slow and almost that painful death type of way. And that's one of the things we have to guard against. We got to guard against the turnovers, obviously the penalties, things that have kind of hurt us this season, have kept us from scoring. So, those are things we try to eliminate.
But they've been a team that they've been a Jekyll and Hyde. Thanksgiving week, they didn't play well that week. But then you look last week against the Rams, they were really good. What clicked for them?
I think sometimes as players, as coaches, when your back is kind of up against the wall, you're going to come out and you're going to fight and scratch and do everything you can to win a football game. And that's kind of what you saw last week against the Rams. They came out with a mission, obviously.
Right.
You saw the Dallas Cowboy team that I think everybody had expected to see the entire season. And we saw it, obviously, in our first matchup. But obviously, I can't speak for the rest of their season. But I think they're back on track. I think their mindset's a little different now.
Right.
It was a dominating performance against the Rams and something that we've got to be able to match that intensity come Sunday afternoon.
Miles Sanders, lately he's taken a lot of the offense, a lot of that load on his shoulders. Tell me about his maturity, his growth over the season.
One of the things that I think I've seen watching him and coaching him and his growth is how well his vision has improved as a runner. Early in the season, you saw him almost running past holes or going a little bit too wide when it might be a cutback lane there. And now that he's getting more touches and more opportunity, not only in practice but during the game, he's slowing down. His vision is much better. He's been able to see that hole. He's making those quick cuts. A lot like LaShawn McCoy in a way where he can jump cut and make guys miss. And so that's what you're starting to see now with him, and still has a lot to learn, obviously, from this game and what he's doing. But I'm so excited for his development, his growth, and then obviously what he's done out of the backfield as a receiving running back has really made an impact for our offense.
And you've got a couple of young guys now that are making huge contributions. I think of Greg Ward when I say that and what he's been able to do. How important is that? And, these last possession drives that you've been able to capitalize on the past 2 games, how big is that?
Well, it's big because we've won the game. It's big for our quarterback that he's allowed us to put the team on his shoulders and brought us back in these games. And then for our young players to be a part of that. Greg Ward, as you mentioned, to be able to make that game-winning catch the other day. And you're seeing the fruits of their labor. These guys continue to work every single day in practice. My coaching staff on offense, Carson Walsh, they continue to work with all the young players, not just the starters. And so now you're starting to see that sort of take over into games. And, we've had Greg on our radar screen for a while now. I had a chance to bring him up a couple weeks ago, and he's really been a great addition to the offense.
You're excited about the atmosphere that you're going to have at the Link on Sunday afternoon?
I am. It's going to be, obviously it's going to be an electric atmosphere. It's going to be playoff atmosphere that we experienced just a couple years ago. And I think both teams are treating it just like a playoff game. And you have to, but we have to be prepared. Our guys have to be prepared. I've got to do my part in preparing the team. And it comes down to just, executing, taking care of the football, eliminate explosive plays, which they can do. And then at the same time, we've got to be able to create some explosive plays, eliminate penalties, and you got to score because this team can score and they can score a lot of points as we saw last week. So we do that, hopefully we'll come away with a win.